This is a little video that I've been waiting for on my channel that I had time and opportunity to do, and it's about how my schizoid symptoms have changed over time. So, I don't really want my videos to be necessarily for people that have never done research in schizoid personality disorder. It's not really a thing that's that hard to wrap your head around, but basically, they're loners. They've been loners for such a long time, and so thoroughly are they loners that they kind of just don't feel anything. They don't do much. They just kind of go home, or maybe they're homeless, or maybe they live with their parents and they never talk to them or anything like that. They're just sort of unto themselves. And they might not be suicidal, but their lifestyle includes a lot of known factors of suicide. And, mental health might be a little bit difficult to put your finger on, or it's a little bit elusive as to how to exactly define these things, but it's a little bit more easily to say that someone killed themselves, right? And why they did it. They're alone. They don't do anything. They don't have anything on the horizon. They don't have a lot of money, and they just feel like every day is exactly the same, and it's the same day that they didn't want to live in the first place. So that's a good starting point because I'm talking about how things have changed. My schizoidism started when I was about 14, when I started to actually actively think about these things. I didn't know the word schizoid until I was in my 20s, I think. And I didn't have anything about it. It was just me. There's no one else in my life. My family tried to talk to me, but it was a really balkanized, weird, religious, kind of dictated by my mother, and she's not 100%, mentally and any of that kind of stuff. So I felt so alienated and so uninterested in other people that you first commit yourself to not doing it. You start to conceptualize it as a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that basically the tenet of is to never interact with other people unless you have to. That becomes the goal. And it's overriding. It feels as though it's something that you can't violate. And anytime that it does happen, it causes more anxiety as an event than anything really presents me to when I was, now that I'm an adult. Maybe if my radiator's blown on the highway, then my heart starts bumping, right? But that same feeling of popping a tire on the highway or whatever, and it's like, shit, my life's in danger for a moment. That's what it felt like, just for people to say, "Oh, your in-laws are gonna be in for the weekend," and it's like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do?" Because now I have to avoid them, and for that reason, nobody in my family knows anything about me. All the shit that they hear is filtered through my mother, because she's my mother and father, because they're the only people that I talk to in my family. I tried for a long time to be socially involved with them, but to any degree, that would make it seem as though I'm not avoiding them completely. So you have to give a little bit to get more. It's investing time in others so that you get more time to yourself, and they don't think that you're off the deep end. It really didn't work, to be honest with you, but I am content only when I'm alone, and the only exception to that is when I'm alone with my wife. Other than that, I am I'm a fish out of water. I don't like being around other people. Some of it has to do with autism, that I just don't have as many like valid connection points between my interaction with another person. It doesn't have any depth to me. It is just something. It's like they're walking paperwork. I fill it out and I fucking move on. And starting from a standpoint of no skills, no money, no skills, no money, no social contacts. I lived in the country. I didn't have a car. And that was hugely damaging to me as a 14, 15, 16-year old. And I think I got my license when I was 17. After that, I did experiment sexually with several people that I found online, and it just didn't do anything for me. I knew from the very beginning that this isn't going to grow into anything that I'm interested in doing. This is just something that I'm doing because I'm terrified of being a virgin, and that's not the way to do it. Like, I don't know. I could make video after video about sex, because schizoidism has a lot to do with sex, and it's not something that, even if you hear in the beginning in the diagnostic criteria, is like they don't have sexual partners. That isn't true at all. I actually interacted with someone online who said they were a diagnosed schizoid and she was a stripper. There is all kinds of stuff that they can do. And they have different levels of sociality. They have different levels of everything, and definitely sexuality. So it's like for me, I'm not straight. I am bisexual, pansexual. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm just sexually dormant. I never wanted a sexuality, but now I have one. That's one point of change, right? Your attitudes towards sex change. The availability of sex in your life changes. And me and my wife love sex. Me and my wife started out in our relationship, we were both sexually broken for different reasons. Some of them the same reasons. You know, she has complex PTSD. It can look a lot like schizoid personality disorder. I might have CPSD as opposed to schizoid personality disorder, or something that increasingly another change that happened is that my awareness of the mental health industry and the really just the lack of rigor that goes into the justifications for what they do or what they write or how they codify mental disorders. You should look into it, because I'm not saying that it's hocus pocus. I'm just saying that you don't, like, your doctor tells you're something, it's maybe not nearly as meaningful as you think. And I'm the kind of person that I love having an answer. I want to find the answer and find closure. And I liked having the acronyms at first, but then you learn more about CPTSD and SPD and ASD, and they all bleed together, and you try and compare it to yourself, while at the same time, one of the things that changed in my schizoid personality disorder is that I was very willing to go to therapy, and now I don't. It didn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. Not only that, they just kind of tell me that I don't have problems. Like, it's very weird what my center is doing. Like, it's a 1-star rated facility. It's not good. So they can't help me. My wife can help me, and she does. And the people in my life, now that I have a couple friends, that the more, that's another change. I have friends now. I have about half a dozen people in my life that I do talk to. I don't talk to them in the normal way. There is no way for me to come across as normal. And maybe in these videos there's a distorted notion of that or something, that I am actually more normal than long-term interaction with me doesn't happen. And the more that any friend of mine comes to understand that and to accept that, the better they do with me and the more they get out of me. And it's gotten to the point where my wife, like, one, I got angry with her because she told a group of friends that I have schizoid personality disorder. And I got angry with her. Is that that's something that I get to share, not you. And she basically explained, it's like, look, if I'm the person who's explaining you to other people, it's easier to just say that you're schizoid, and they tend to just accept it. And you say it anyway. So it's like, what the hell are you trying to hide? I feel as though I am something that needs to be hidden. And it's just not important for the world to see who I am. And everything is it's just pretend. It's pretend so that like I said earlier in the video, just so I can maximize my solitude. That's my orientation towards life. Doesn't have necessarily even anything to do with pleasure. I might not even be that prone to that kind of stuff, but that's something that's definitely changed. I'm open about who I am, even if I don't have to use terms like schizoid or INTJ or things like that. Another, oh shit, don't lose your train of thought yet. It's so good that you made it this far in the video. But we talked about my family. We talked about my, oh, right, emotions. This is one thing I wanted to touch on before the video actually ends. I was not very emotive at all. I didn't feel anything. So you might see is like, I'm doing stuff, maybe that's not what you think of as a schizoid is. Being able to do, there's no way to measure this, so whatever. I emote. I do have the joke. I will engage with someone for the fuck of it. And I don't do it a lot, but I have the skill set. That's really my point with this. It is a definite skill set. You could write a book that's perfectly serviceable to make these things understood to you so that you can continue on. So as far as being able to engage with other people, it all helps you maximize your time spent alone without falling into the tendency of being a kid forever that's in your parents' basement until they die. The nightmare scenario for a schizoid, where it's like, I don't know what to do anymore. The walls are closing in around me, and the only response that I have is to run. You don't have to have that. If you change your affect, if you make it clear to other people your needs, if you do seek out professional help, if you do go through this self reflection, you can still be a schizoid many, many hours of the week and gain that comfort of that lifestyle without necessarily sacrificing everything. And I guarantee you, in my life, like, I have not been able to, I don't feel like I've moved that far, to be honest with you, when I got everything. So I just, it really is something that you just need to treat as not just purposeful effort, but also something that you're not going to change completely. And I think a lot of schizoids, that's what they wanted to hear. They don't want to be changed completely. They like these aspects about themselves. They just wish that they were more functional, that they were independent, that they had the money, they weren't dependent on my family. They did have all of these other mental health conditions in their life, figured out and so on. But it takes years of concerted effort in order to get to this. And hopefully, this video elucidated some of that to you, because I think I think I hit many of the high points of what makes schizoids divorced from reality and how they can gradually reconnect themselves for the sake not of changing themselves utterly, but the sake of making themselves work within an adult life. Then there you go.